Alright, so get this. In my last video I covered a handful of wacky PlayStation 2 bootlegs that I could find online. Being curious, I wanted to go even further down this PlayStation 2 rabbit hole and see if I could find some more obscure, weirder, and wackier stuff. So in today's video we'll be diving even deeper into the illicit PlayStation 2 bootleg market. From interviewing one of the biggest bootleggers within the Middle East to exploring an ambitious project that aims to bring over CS 1.6 over to the PlayStation 2. This is exploring more illegal PS2 games. So for this video, I wanted to do something a little different. Instead of just downloading bootlegs that I would come across online, I was determined to see if I could dig deeper within the illegal PlayStation 2 market. I wanted to know who is behind this phenomenon, the inner workings of the network, and how people create bootlegs in the first place. There's only one problem though. I live in Canada. As far as I'm concerned, this market doesn't really exist up in the Great North. Well, maybe in Dartmouth at least. Since I don't have Mr. Beast money, I don't have the luxury of hopping on to the next flight over to the Middle East and interviewing people on the street. This is where my friend Yazir comes in to save the day. Meet Yazir Iraqi, aka the PlayStation 2 bootleg plug. Yazir is a man on a mission. He's been going out of his way to purchase and archive as many bootlegs that he could find in his home country of Iraq. I found him while browsing the original Xbox subreddit after he made a post talking about archiving some OG Xbox bootlegs that he found. According to Yazir, this Vice City bootleg translates to Iraqi Cocktail 2012. Pretty cool, I guess. Back on topic, I sent him a DM asking if there was any chance he happened to have any PlayStation 2 bootlegs. He ended up sending me photos of his PlayStation 2 bootleg collection. You got Call of Duty World War II PS2, this scuff-looking Sonic game, GTA Saints Row 4, Bloodbourne PlayStation 2 edition, and of course, Watch Dogs. He also sent me this goofy-ass GTA PC bootleg collection that claims to have Vice City 7, Grand Theft Auto Matrix Edition, Grand Theft Auto Back to the Future, GTA Killer City, etc. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys would be interested in watching a video where I cover scuffed PC bootlegs like this. Anyways, Yazir also shared some insider knowledge about the inner workings of the bootleg PlayStation 2 market in the Middle East. According to him, he managed to land an interview with one of the biggest bootleggers within the region. I'll refer to the bootlegger as Boots in this case since it's got a nice ring to it. So Boots claims that back in 2012, he started his own bootleg disc production plant based somewhere in Syria. Fun fact, Boots only owned 49% of the company, as Syrian laws at the time prevented anyone from owning more than 50% of their own business. Boots also had this cool special German disc machine that could crank out 2,000 discs an hour. He was able to print and distribute around 80,000 copies of each PlayStation 2 bootleg throughout the Middle East. According to him, this method is very similar as to how official games are printed in North America. Boots also claims to have a huge hard drive filled with every single PlayStation 2 bootleg released in the region. However, he doesn't want to share it as he'd rather keep it confidential, and honestly, I don't blame him for doing that. I just kind of wish that we could see what GTA Tom Cruise and Dubai City would have looked like. Also, do you guys remember how in the original video I showed off that PlayStation 2 graveyard video? Yazir claims that that video was taken inside a store called the Octopus Center, based in a neighborhood inside Baghdad called Baba al-Sharik. I tried googling it myself and all I could find was this random cell phone shop. It's hard to tell if this was originally where I was located since there's no street view, so who really knows? Yazir also shared a link to an Instagram account by the name C37D, the original creator behind the PlayStation 2 graveyard video. C3 claims the backstory behind all those dusty abandoned bootlegs is that when the PlayStation 4 was released in Iraq, the demand for games such as Grand Theft Auto Mario Edition and Dead Space in the PlayStation 2 simply dropped, hence why they call it the PlayStation 2 disc graveyard. If you guys would like to learn more about the gaming culture in Iraq, I'll leave a link to his Instagram in the description of this video. Also, big shout out to Yazir for making this entire segment of the video possible. It is greatly appreciated. With all that out of the way, let's jump into some goofy bootlegs that our boy Yazir was able to find. I'll start with Call of Duty World War II for the PlayStation 2. So Call of Duty World War II on the PlayStation 2 is just a scuffed bootleg of World at War Final Front, but with some major caveats. The game starts out by greeting you with a pre-order trailer for World War II.
Pre-order now and get access to the private beta.
One goofy detail is how the DVD will skip in the middle of the cutscene, causing the audio to skip and shit.
How many casualties? We executed the mission. Get me the fuck out of here. How many? We had orders!
What I find interesting about this bootleg is how it attempts to hide the fact that it's World at War. For an example, this is what a retail copy of the game looks like in the main menu screen. Here's what the bootleg looks like in comparison. They managed to remove the logo for World at War, but didn't bother going for the effort of changing the background image. Like, what's the point? But that's just the tip of the iceberg, as it gets a lot weirder from here. Now, the first mission in World War II claims to be the quote-unquote basic training, but it's actually the 7th level and final front. What makes this even more odd is how the cutscene before the level makes it seem like it's gonna be set in D-Day, but this mission takes place in the middle of the winter and at night. It makes zero sense. Speaking of the mission, it's just scuffed beyond belief.
Point for their armor units here. That armor's the reason why the Yanks are having such a hard...
Typical Jerry. Always well prepared. He's probably got enough ammo and fuel.
One of the first things I noticed with this bootleg is how your dude no longer has arms. I don't know if this is due to the bootleggers messing around with the game's code or whatever, but it just ends up looking really goofy. Side note, is it just me or does Final Fronts reuse gun assets from Call of Duty 2? That's the first game that came to my mind when I saw this, but I might be tripping on this one. Anyways, another scuff part of this bootleg is how now the developers, if you want to call them that, also managed to completely destroy the game's AI. No matter how much attention you bring onto yourself, they'll simply ignore you as if you don't exist. Sometimes they'll even start shooting at each other in the middle of a gunfight. It makes no sense. You wanna know what's bullshit? If you throw a grenade in this game, it causes your gun to disappear, also making it impossible to switch or pick up weapons off the ground. What makes this even is how this manages to break the game, as certain segments require you to kill every enemy on screen in order to progress through the level. The only way you can fix this is by manually restarting the checkpoint again. I can't tell you how many times I accidentally clicked the trigger just to have to restart the same mission over and over again. If you're going to go for the effort of modifying the game's code, why not just disable the ability to throw grenades in that case? Who playtested this shit? Alright, since we're already here, I guess I'll give you a summary of how the mission went. Half of the quote-unquote basic training mission amounts to you running across the map, shooting some dudes, climbing up a sawmill just so you can shoot some more dudes, get into more gunfights. You blow up a tank at one point. You go down a hallway, and guess what? You shoot more dudes.
Let's leave something for the Yanks to do.
Anyways, after wasting 20 minutes of my life that I'll never get back, the level ends with you and the fellas chilling inside this crib with this awkward ass cutscene.
Looks like that's the last of them. Someone get on the line and tell them they took their damn time.
Yeah, and tell them that we did the hard part for... I think we should be thanking old sharpshooter.
And then the game just crashed. I guess it's almost poetic in that case. Long story short, outside of the basic training mission, the rest of the game is virtually identical to the retail release. The bootleggers just managed to change one mission, remove the World at War logo, replace some cutscenes, and somehow made Final Fronts even worse. In my opinion, this was a missed opportunity. Why not make the game into a remix of Final Fronts? Maybe include a randomizer that changes levels each playthrough, or at least add your own custom textures into the game to keep it somewhat interesting. That being said, you're better off torturing yourself by playing the OG version than this goofy, broken piece of shit, if I'm being completely honest.
So, what do we do, Sarge? Flag them down and ask for directions, eh?
Alright, so next up, we got something that's really cool. This is called Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Crossover Edition.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3 Latino.
So Tenkaichi 3 Crossover Edition aims to bring over 30 custom characters, includes brand new voiceover work, redesigned menus, and a bunch of new arenas for you to fight on. All this was created by famous DBZ modder Pipe Game. This guy's created a lot of cool DBZ mods, such as bringing over Xenoverse to the PlayStation 2. If you want to check it out for yourself, I'll leave a link to his website and YouTube channel in the description of this video. Alright, so let's cut straight to the meat and potatoes. I'll start with the custom characters first. Now, this mod aims to be more of a fusion of characters versus being from one specific franchise. You got stuff from the Marvel and DC universe, Pokemon, Super Mario Bros., Final Fantasy, and Mortal Kombat. You also have a bunch of random ass characters here too. You can play as SpongeBob SquarePants, CJ from San Andreas, Spanish Sailor Moon, Kratos, Kim Jong, Luigi,
Mamma mia.
Plank from Ed, Edd n Eddy, and the Incredible Hulk.
No puedes ganarme, resígnate.
It also includes some cool custom arenas as well. One of the arenas that I played on took place inside Bikini Bottom, right in front of the Krusty Krab, while another arena took place inside this Minecraft Windows XP inspired world. It's not perfect by any stretch, but honestly, who gives a shit? It's so cool. I'm not gonna hold you, man, this mod is just so much damn fun. It's just the little things, like how virtually every new character has their own unique voiceovers.
I am the god of war! By the gods, I'll kill you all!
To just how batshit crazy it is.
Te mostraré mis verdaderos poderes.
There is really nothing else quite like it.
Prepare to submit, coward!
This is honestly the gold standard that every bootleg should aspire to be. It's original, funny, and manages to make the game 5 times more fun to play. If you ever need an excuse to revisit Budokai Tenkaichi again, then this is it. Next up, we have Watch Dogs for the PlayStation 2. Now, this one has an interesting backstory behind it. Yasser claims that he purchased it from a local game store in Baghdad. According to him, the disc was severely scratched to the point where it couldn't be repaired. He tried using that classic toothpaste method, and even that didn't seem to make a difference. After hours of trial and error, he somehow managed to rip 96% of the contents off the disc and onto his PC. We both thought it was busted at first, since it would crash instantly whenever you try to boot it. However, it turns out that if you smash the X button, and I mean really smash the button, it skips the intro cinematic, allowing you to play the game normally. And speaking of that, this is what Watch Dogs on the PlayStation 2 looks like. It's pretty impressive, huh? Nah, I'm just fucking with you. In reality, Watch Dogs on the PlayStation 2 is just a lazy Reservoir Dogs bootleg. All the bootleggers managed to do was add this goofy ass main menu music,
Smile on that face.
replace one cutscene with the Watch Dogs trailer that they stole from IGN's website, and that's about it.
Forget who.
There's no custom Aiden Pierce texture model, no ability to hack anything, no open world, nothing.
Nobody fucking move! Everybody freeze!
That's not to say that the Reservoir Dog game is bad by any stretch, but it doesn't really fit the whole Watch Dogs aesthetic. It's like the bootleggers saw how it had dogs in the name and picked it solely based on that. It would have made a lot more sense to do a Watch Dogs Legion PS2 bootleg based on the original Getaway. Just think about it. It's already set in London, it's an open world, and a third-person shooter. It seems like the perfect opportunity. Well, at least in my eyes.
You think you can come take my ganja? Come on.
So what about Bloodbourne for the PlayStation 2? At first, I honestly had no idea what to expect. As far as I'm concerned, there really isn't any notable Souls-like games on the PlayStation 2, so I had no clue what this bootleg could have been based on. It turns out that Bloodbourne on the PlayStation 2 is just a modified version of Devil May Cry 3. The bootleggers went for the effort of redesigning all the main menu screens to give them that gothic Bloodborne aesthetic, as well as changing the opening cutscene. But just like that busted World War II bootleg, outside of the first mission, the game is virtually the same DMC experience that you all know and love. Here's something kinda cool though. Whenever you first boot up the game, it shows this logo of an eye and what appears to be a phone number. If you translate the text underneath it, it reads Al Nazir General Trading Company. I threw the name into Google and found this physical media printing company based in Kuwait. Their site does show off some disc printing equipment, so maybe this is where the bootleg was originally printed at. I honestly have no sweet clue. My boy Yasser did some investigating and discovered that it's actually a watermark for a bootlegger with their phone number to their supposed store. He tried messaging the owner using WhatsApp, but I guess Buddy ended up ghosting him. He also claims that the number now belongs to an airline booking agency, so I would recommend calling them yourself. Anyways, I kinda wish there was more to say about Bloodbourne on the PlayStation 2. It's yet another bootleg that replaces a few cutscenes and calls it a day. Think of it like the video game equivalent of taking a 364-day vacation. Moving on, let's talk about the bootleg scene surrounding Resident Evil 4. Now, most of these bootlegs amount to being either a texture mod or giving you cheats at the beginning of the game. Stuff like unlimited ammo, resources, guns, you know the deal. The first bootleg that I tried out was called Resident Evil 4 Demake.
Resident Evil 4.
As the name implies, this mod attempts to demake the original game and make it resemble more of the 2023 remake. The author of this mod claims that it includes new menus, HUDs, music, sound effects, different voices for the Gandos, new gun sounds and animations, upgraded weapon textures, modified scenarios, and a whole lot more. Alright, so right off the bat, you can clearly see just how much this mod cleans up RE4's visuals. The game looks so much more sharper and crispier, but in a good way. Now, the PlayStation 2 port of RE4 is known for having muddier graphics when compared to its GameCube counterpart, and although this mod doesn't fully rectify that, I still think the image quality here is a vast improvement. In my opinion, I think the original art style had a lot more life to it compared to the demake, but I'll let you guys be the judge on that. I appreciate how the modding team went for the effort of changing the weapon sound effects too. I really love how powerful the shotgun sounds now. I feel like a lot of the details of this DMAC are a lot more subtle. I'll be the first to admit, I'm not too familiar with RE4 to the point where I can tell a difference side by side, but I feel like there's still a good amount of changes here that help it make it resemble more of the remake. For my limited time of this mod, I have to say I was left impressed. It's honestly black magic that this could somehow look this good and run this good. This is yet another example of just how talented and ambitious the PlayStation 2 modding scene truly is. Next up, we have this one bootleg called Resident Evil 4 666 Edition. According to the mod's description, it reads, Resident Evil 4 666 Edition is inspired by hellish and bloody horror themes. It features a difficulty level higher than professional, where enemies have a significant amount of health, aka HP. One of the guys who created this mod is fellow content creator Drago PlayStation 2. His YouTube channel is littered with Resident Evil 4 mods. I would strongly recommend checking it out if you're interested. The best way I can describe RE4 666 is that it feels more like a remix of the original game with a slight dash of Dark Souls spice thrown in for good measure. I'll start with the atmosphere first. The whole bloody hellish theme that Draco created seems to fit RE4 like a glove. When you compare them side by side to the original game, 666's world is a lot more grittier and darker, to the point where you almost need to jack up your TV's brightness just to see where you're going. Certain parts of the environment have also received minor changes as well. For an example, while I was walking around the village, I noticed that parts of the game's world now have this blue, almost blue raspberry look to them. I'm not gonna hold you, I thought it was a graphical bug at first, but it turns out it's actually part of the art style. Speaking of the art style, I found that it kinda looks more washed out when you compare it to the original game. Maybe it's due to the fact that I played this on a PlayStation 2 and I feel like an emulator would have looked 5 times better here. I just found that the art style looked really bland and almost reminded me more of the iPod Touch port of Resident Evil 4 than being like a full-on graphical overhaul. It's kind of hard for me to describe in words how I feel about it, but ultimately it just wasn't for me. Another aspect of 666 is how it changes a lot of the original game's scenarios. For the most part, this amounts to increasing the amount of enemies on screen at one time, which was a popular criticism criticism with the PlayStation 2 port. My only real complaint here is that the frame rate tends to take a dump more often due to the increased amount of enemies on screen. But hey, it's supposed to take place in hell, so it's kind of fitting if you ask me. In terms of difficulty, I don't know if I'd go as far to say that this is the hardest way to play Resident Evil 4 or anything like that, but for someone who sucks ass at this game, I didn't find it too challenging at times. It kind of throws you straight into the mud when you first start the game, but it progressively seemed to get easier the longer you played it, if that makes any sense. One cool detail is how whenever you die in this game, the devil will start to laugh at you in the background. Now, I wouldn't recommend playing this mod if you've never experienced the original game before, as it's a lot more bullshit involved. That being said, I would recommend it if you're a die-hard Resident Evil 4 fan. Moving on, let's talk about Counter-Strike for the PlayStation 2. So there exists a project that aims to recreate the original CS 1.6 experience onto the PlayStation 2 using what's called the Tyra engine. For those unfamiliar, the Tyra engine is an open source game engine designed to make it easy as possible to build games for the PlayStation 2. Currently, CS PS2 edition is in a prototype pre-alpha state, but the team continues to make significant progress as of the recording of this video. With all that being said, how about we go check this out. Alright, so what is it like to play CS on a PS2? Well, the short answer is I have no sweet clue, and the long answer is, well, let me explain. Think of CS PS2 edition as more of a proof of concept at this stage in development, as there's only one map in this build that you can play on, that of course being DDoS 2, and you can only select from 3 different weapons, the AK-47, M4A1, and USP, all of which look like they've been ripped straight out of CS 1.6, and that's about it. I gotta say, it definitely has that Counter-Strike charm to it already. I don't know if it's a Tyra engine and how it renders like 3D graphics or whatever, but it definitely reminded me of CS 1.6. That could be due to the fact that it reuses a lot of the assets from CS 1.6, but you get what I'm trying to say. They've already kind of nailed that CS core feeling so far, and I think that's pretty damn cool. In terms of gameplay, it's hard to judge or review for that matter, as all you can do right now is float around within the game's environment. And before you comment saying that this looks like shit, this is what raw game development looks like. It's not supposed to look pretty. All of your favorite games at one point in time look this primitive. So to end this segment off, I decided to interview the team behind CS PS2 edition to get some additional information on the project's scope and upcoming features. Now, the whole project is being developed by a single dude by the name Fatality. Fatality claims that the game entered development in December of 2024. According to him, since he's just a one-man army, he can only work on the project part-time, and he's currently taking a break from development as of the recording of this video. I also asked him a few CS related questions too, such as if the game will support mouse and keyboard support on the PlayStation 2. Now, Fatality is still debating on adding the support as it might make the game unbalanced, which makes a lot of sense when you think about it. Fatality also mentioned how he wanted to add support for both custom maps and custom game modes in a future update. I personally would love to see modes like zombies or even find a way to implement surfing into the game, as that would be really dope. It seems kinda cursed surfing on a PlayStation 2, but you get my drift. Finally, I asked from his perspective what was the biggest challenge in bringing over Counter-Strike to the PlayStation 2. Fatality claims that the biggest hurdle is getting the game to run on a PS2 without it instantly crashing. He also mentioned how the Tyra engine doesn't support native network connectivity, so that's another system that he's gonna have to fully implement by himself, which blows chunks if you ask me. Anyways, big shout out to Fatality for taking time out of his day to reply to all my questions. It means the world. Outside of what I just said, there really isn't anything else worth exploring this build. Based off my first impressions, I gotta admit, I was left impressed. There's clearly a lot of potential here, and I can't wait to experience it once it's in more of a playable state. Alright fellas, check this out. This is Bully ModMenu PlayStation 2 edition. I thought this one would be pretty cool to explore, as you don't see many people modding Bully on the PlayStation 2. It always seems to be either Vice City or San Andreas. Now, the creator behind this mod goes by the name Pedro_Pat. This dude has also worked on Grand Theft Auto 4 for the PlayStation 2, and a ton of other wacky GTA mods. You already know the drill by now, the link will be in the description of this video. Alright, so this version of Bully is much more tamer in comparison to something like Grand Theft Auto Superman Edition or anything like that. Instead, all you have here is Jimmy rocking an Adidas tracksuit. and of course this dope mod menu. Speaking of which, this mod menu gives you so much shit that you can mess around with. You can start your own fight club and spawn an endless amount of NPCs.
Come on now, don't be scared.
Give yourself unlimited health and ammo. You can now no-clip to parts of the map that were previously inaccessible, drive motorcycles inside the school, you can spawn every weapon in the game, including cut weapons like the Super Spud gun. You can now teleport to any part of the map instead of having to manually unlock it, and the coolest part of this mod is how it now lets you drive cars.
My bad, sorry.
Now there's a lot more to this mod menu, such as being able to change subtle things, like how Jimmy walks for an example, or how you can become any other character in the game, but that's for another day. According to Pedro, the modding scene surrounding PlayStation 2 Bully is still quite new. I went digging online to see if I could find any other mods and found this video of a supposed 2-player co-op mode. I didn't get the chance to try it out for myself, but it looks sick. Anyways, if there's a game that Rockstar should remake, it's definitely Bully or Max Payne 3. That would be awesome. Alright, it's time for some more GTA bootlegs. I'll start with one that I found called Minecraft San Andreas Edition. Now, this is a really impressive reimagining of what GTA San Andreas would have looked like if it took place in Minecraft. It was created by the Generations modding team. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that this group is based in Brazil. These guys are known for their ambitious San Andreas mods, such as the popular GTA Generations patch, one of the most impressive mods that I've ever played on a PlayStation 2. Anyways, according to the forum post, Minecraft San Andreas Edition overhauls various textures and character models, changes some load screens, and also gives you the ability to craft. The best way I can describe this game is like having a dream about playing a video game,
You wanna get slept, bitch?
but actually physically being able to play that exact game.
I take that paper.
So when you first boot this up, it greets you with this goofy ass Minecraft music video. I'm just gonna say it, this mod is seriously impressive. The team managed to Minecraftify both the health and wanted meter. They added new weapons in the game such as the Minecraft sword and the pickaxe for an example. I like how almost every NPC has a Minecraft treatment to them, and yeah, what else can I say? This is really damn cool. Even when you drive around Los Santos, you can see that the team replaced a lot of the environment to make it more blocky, if that's even a word. It's honestly surprising just how well the whole Minecraft aesthetic works in San Andreas. Here's something kinda cool. If you go to this spot on the map, it actually lets you craft weapons. The mechanic is really rudimentary as it doesn't seem like you need to collect resources or anything like that, but I thought it was a nice touch at least. Definitely helps with the whole Minecraft aesthetic that's going on. I don't know if you have to be smoking moon rocks to come up with this type of a crossover, but honestly, I f*** with it. If you can manage to find this out in the wild, I would recommend giving Minecraft San Andreas a try, especially if you're a fan of the series. Alright, so remember in the last video when I covered that shitty GTA Batman bootleg? It turns out that the Generations modding team decided to remake that mod and managed to make it 5 times better. This is Grand Theft Auto: The Dark Knight. So when you first boot this puppy up, it greets you with a trailer from, well you guessed it, The Dark Knight. Now there's quite a few things here that this mod brings to the table as it's not a simple texture swap. The Generations modding team managed to add both the Batmobile and the motorcycle from the film. You can now switch between this goofy Christian Bale Bruce Wayne skin as well as being able to play as a Dark Knight, and they also managed to add some custom missions into the game as well. Now, the missions aren't going to blow your socks off, but I think they're pretty cool. One of the missions starts with CJ getting a call from what I think is supposed to be the Joker, talking shit to him in Portuguese. All you do in this mission is drive around Los Santos,
Need that shit you drive.
fight some dudes on the block that are marked on your mini-map.
Yeah, it's heat. What you gonna do now? Fuck y'all.
And then there's this grand finale where you actually fight the Joker.
I warn you, I don't give a fuck.
And that's about it.
You little punk.
I like when you complete the mission, it shows this cutscene of the Joker waving at you, as if you just killed his stunt double or something like that. One cool feature about this mod is how CJ can now throw batarangs. The mechanic is kind of busted as whenever you throw it at someone, it either just clips right through their body or manages to go right around them. At least you can still use it as a shank, I suppose.
Trying to get laid out.
Another day in America.
The mod also claims that you can now glide if you tap the circle button while in the air. Despite trying this multiple times, I couldn't seem to get this to work.
Shit, damn.
Maybe it only works at certain angles or in particular areas on the map, I honestly have no sweet clue.
I hate gravity.
Another complaint that I had was with the Batmobile. I would say that it's basically impossible to drive half the time, as it always seems like the car is steering you in one direction, which means that you basically have to fight with the controls in order to drive it properly. If you've ever driven a car with a crap wheel alignment before, this is practically the same type of experience. The Generations teams also managed to change some of the weapon models here as well.
You gonna stay cool now.
For an example, the Tech 9 is now an MP40, and the grenades have been replaced with the mine grenades from Batman Begins. Pretty cool if you ask me. Grand Theft Auto The Dark Knight is one of the better GTA bootlegs that I've played thus far. I really dig the attention to detail, and I think that the team worked hard to make something unique here. If you ever want an excuse to play something on a Saturday afternoon, then this is it. Alright, so next up we have Grand Theft Auto San Andreas Zombie Edition. Now, the history surrounding this bootleg is a little fishy. So there once was a San Andreas PS2 mod created by Geomatrix about a decade or so ago. For those who don't know, Geomatrix is responsible for creating the infamous Bomba patch, a mod for the PES series that is also considered as one of the most successful unofficial Brazilian games ever made. He is also known for creating this goofy homemade movie called Spider-Man Reloaded, which is pretty cool too. So to end this video off, I decided to explore this brand new San Andreas mod that I found online created by a fella named Marco Rolland. So Grand Theft Auto Zombie Edition takes heavy inspiration from games like DayZ and attempts to bring that experience over to San Andreas. Well, sort of.
Look out now!
So every time that you start the game, CJ spawns in a random part of the map, just like how it works in DayZ. From here, you're given a pistol, SMG, AK-47, and a rifle with a decent amount of ammo to boot. CJ also now has to manage both his hunger and his rock juice meter. And before you ask, yes, you can get CJ smashed. If you decide to ignore it and raw dog it instead, CJ will start to shit blood and eventually just drop dead. It's a cool idea, don't get me wrong, but I found this mechanic to be more of an annoyance. Your thirst and hunger depletes within seconds of filling up, so you end up spending more time eating than you do actually exploring the open world. Even the zombies don't seem to work right. No matter where you are on the map, they'll spawn behind you or around you at all times. In my opinion, this is dumb. The whole mechanic ends up feeling like a cheap gimmick. It would have been a lot better if the zombies spawned based on how populated an area was versus spawning for the sake of it. You wanna know something even more scuffed? Whenever you die in this mod, instead of that classic wasted screen, the game instantly cuts to a black screen. Also, for some reason, driving in this mod causes the game to crash, which is pretty bullshit if you ask me. Overall, I respect the hard work and effort that went into creating this mod, but I felt like it needed more time in the oven. Imagine if they made a bootleg called State of Decay PlayStation 2 Edition. You could use this mod as a foundation and allow the player to pick up random weapons across the map, or even loot in ransacked stores in Los Santos. If I were in the developer's shoes, that's probably where I would have taken direct influence from. Now before we end this video off, I'd like to give a quick shout out to the following YouTube members for their continued support. The following members are Zachpats, Dot, GRA, Master Frank, Molotov Rippentrop, WarioMan64, Scott Nokus, Controller Smasher, Major K, Sigma the Coconut Weevil, Glenn, Gut Rippa, Evan Phillips, Surfboard Charlie, Dominic Wolf, Ganja Reaper, Liquidity, Lewis944, Strategic Games, Odin, Lumpy McGumpy, GamerWolf340, DK2K, Ralph, Jeb Reggie, Magma Master 1801, Ricora, Catherall, Nun Cheesecake, Mike_Ock, Henry YouTube, Bob Bluton, Bob Loves Cutie Pie, Bio the Bard, Hellcat, Swervin' Son, Sergeant Daniel Wrecker, Carlos the Bird 69, Parapy Boy, Chris ETM, Skate Check, Dixon, Noah McCarthy, Koi, The Soul Gauge, Solaritus Gaming, Join Cad, Captain Kurt, Miss Champagne, Duncan Lowray, Za, Andrew N, Matt Maverson, Fruzilla, Hurdy, Canadian Jelly, Baba Lahara, Time Tunnel 4956, TJ's Techniche, Shinua Haverson, and Twin 10, brother. Thank you guys so much, it is greatly appreciated. And that was exploring more illegal PS2 games. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Right now, I'm kind of in between projects, like I'm working on a most active 2025 for the PlayStation 3, and I got some other stuff I'm working on in the background. If I can manage to fix my PlayStation 4, maybe I'll make a video where I play PlayStation 3 games using PS4 Linux. I think that'd be kind of fun. Anyways, if you enjoy this style of content, please consider leaving a like or even a subscription. It's greatly appreciated. But until next time, fellas, peace.
Huh?